Katherine Mansfield, a short biography. In the closing years of the 19th century, at the edge of the British Empire, a literary voice was born that would help reshape modern storytelling. On October 14, 1888, Katherine Mansfield Beauchamp entered the world during a fierce southerly storm in Wellington, New Zealand. Later, she wrote that this turbulent beginning set the course for her equally stormy life. Born into Wellington's social elite, young Kathleen grew up in a world of privilege, but one far removed from the cultural centres of Europe. Her father Harold was a prominent banker, her childhood comfortable but constrained by Victorian expectations. From an early age, Kathleen showed a rebellious streak and a passion for writing. By 9, she was filling notebooks with stories. Her first published work appeared in her school magazine when she was just 10. At Fitzherbert Terrace School, young Kathleen formed what would become one of her most significant early relationships with Mata Mahupuku, a wealthy young Maori woman. Their friendship would later blossom into romance.
I want Marta. I want her as I have had her terribly.
Katherine and Marta were together both in New Zealand and later in London. At 19, burning with ambition and desperate to escape provincial New Zealand, she convinced her parents to let her study in London. Here, Katherine Mansfield Beauchamp would become Katherine Mansfield, writer, modernist, and rebel. London in 1908 was a city in transition. New ideas about art, society, and sexuality were challenging old Victorian values. Katherine threw herself into this bohemian world with passionate intensity. Between 1906 and 1908, she fell deeply in love with Edith Kathleen Bendel, chronicling their relationship in her journals with both joy and anguish. During this time, she formed a lifelong bond with Ida Baker, known as LM. Though their relationship remained platonic, LM became Katherine's most devoted companion, earning the nickname the Wife for her unwavering care. In 1908, she began a passionate affair with musician Garnet Trowell. When she became pregnant, she hastily married singing teacher George Bowden, a marriage she fled from on their wedding night. The pregnancy ended in miscarriage during a forced stay in Bavaria, where her mother had sent her hoping to end her unnatural attachments. Back in London, she became both friend and lover to writer Beatrice Hastings, while contributing to the literary magazine The New Age. Their relationship, like many in Katherine's life, was marked by intense intellectual and emotional connection. In London's literary circles, Katherine's status was always complicated. She was an outsider, colonial, female, unconventional, looking in at the prestigious Bloomsbury Group. Her relationship with Virginia Woolf was particularly complex. Woolf initially dismissed her as a civet cat that had taken to street walking, shocked by Katherine's colonial accent and what she saw as common manners.
We have got the same job, Katherine, and it is really very curious and thrilling that we should both, quite apart from each other, be after so very nearly the same thing.
Despite their differences, the Woolf's Hogarth Press would publish Prelude, one of Katherine's finest stories. While they shared intimate conversations about writing and life, there was always an undercurrent of rivalry. Mansfield could be sharp in her criticism, once noting that Woolf
Hovers over, dips, skims, makes exquisite flights, but not humanly.
In 1911, Katherine met John Middleton Murray, a young literary critic. They began a complex relationship that would last the rest of her life, though they would often live apart. Even after settling with Murray, Katherine's heart remained restless. In 1915, she had a brief but significant affair with French writer Francis Carco in Paris, an experience she would later transform into her story, An Indiscreet Journey. But darkness lurked beneath the surface of her brilliant career. In 1915, her beloved brother Leslie was killed in World War I. His death shattered her and profoundly influenced her writing. 2 years later, At just 29, she was diagnosed with tuberculosis. From then on, her life became a desperate search for health, moving between various European clinics and health resorts.
The amount of minute and delicate joy I get out of watching people and things is simply enormous. The detail of life, the life of life.
Despite her illness, these were her most productive years. She wrote her finest stories during this period: Bliss, The Garden Party, At the Bay, works that would revolutionize the short story form with their psychological insight and luminous prose. In her final months, seeking not just physical but spiritual healing, she joined Guy Gurdjieff's Institute at Fontainebleau. It was here on a cold January evening in 1923 that Katherine Mansfield's remarkable life came to an end. She was just 34 years old. After Mansfield's death, Woolf did note in her diary about Katherine.
I was jealous of her writing, the only writing I have ever been jealous of.
The tension between Mansfield and Woolf embodied larger conflicts in modernist literature, between the colonial and metropolitan, the conventional and the radical, the established and the outsider. Their complex relationship helped shape both women's artistic visions and the course of modern literature. Though her life was brief, her influence has proved enduring. Her stories have been translated into 25 languages, inspiring generations of writers. She transformed the short story form, bringing to it a new psychological depth and poetic intensity.
Everything in life that we really accept undergoes a change. The mysterious, the unknown. There must be a period of that, before what has happened to us becomes our life.
Katherine Mansfield, rebel, innovator, and one of the 20th century's most fearless and distinctive literary voices.
Risk anything. Care no more for the opinions of others. Do the hardest thing on earth for you. Act for yourself. Face the truth.
Thank you for listening. For more LGBTQ+ history, please subscribe to this channel.